Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and I'm in my 1.2 test world for a new mod Spotlight, an updated mod. Has a lot of new changes in it since the last time I did a Spotlight. Today we're going to check out Railcraft and all the cool stuff that has happened since I think version 2 when I last played. It's all the way up to version 4.0 from Minecraft 1.2.3. A lot has changed and there's a bunch of cool new additions, so why don't I get started showing you guys how to get going with Railcraft. Alright, so as you can see, there's a bunch of different rails available here. A lot of them are the same as they used to be, but there's a couple additions that I'll get to in the future in a video in a bit. And the main thing that you guys need to know about is that the way you craft these rails has changed. So, for example, the detector rail, the powered rail, the elevator rail, all this cool stuff is a little bit different from the way it used to be made. Let's start with the basic rail right here, and that's crafted using some standard rails, 6 of them, and some wooden rail beds. And wooden rail beds are crafted using 4 wooden ties. And wooden ties are crafted using some wooden slabs and some creosote oil. And you can see you need 3 wooden tabs for that. You get them from just the vanilla recipe of wooden planks. So there's a lot of moving pieces there, and I'll have to show you guys how to craft each of these items in turn. Let's start at the very bottom of the list with creosote oil. How do we get that stuff? So first off, you have to craft yourself some coke oven bricks. These guys are crafted with sand and brick, and you're going to need to lay them out in a pattern like so. First off, it's just basically a 3x3x3 structure that's hollow in the middle. So I'll put 3x3 here, 3x3 here, and remember, hollow in the middle. And as soon as you place down that last block, the block chunk here updates and you get your coke oven. This guy is pretty neat. All you have to do is then get some coal and toss it in the burn slot of the coke oven. And you'll note that it instantly turns on. And it's going to start processing, and I'll come back in a minute once it's done. And you'll note that this block here is pretty large, but it's got access on all sides, and you can automate it with Buildcraft pipes. And you can see it's taken a few minutes here to process the coke oven. Alright, almost there. So you'll note in about 5 seconds here that there's actually 2 byproducts of cooking coal in a coke oven. You're going to get something called creosote oil, which I mentioned a moment ago is used for those wooden ties. So let's see what happens. There we go. You got, looks like it filled up half the bar here for creosote oil. And then the main byproduct here is coal coke. Now this stuff is actually a more powerful version of coal. So if we check this out, it can be used as a fuel source to cook anything, and it's about twice as powerful as coal. So a coal has a heat level of 1600, where coal coke has a heat level of 3200. So it'll cook 16 items in a furnace rather than just 8 with a normal piece of coal. So that coal coke can be used for burning things, and it's a pretty good job. And I think it'll also work in industrial craft generators. It used to. If it still does, awesome. If not, oh well. And I'm going to wait for another cycle to process here. And I should also note you can do a similar thing by placing wood in here, not wooden planks, but wood, and it requires 4 pieces of wood to get your creosote oil. Alright, looks like we're almost there. So the coke oven here, another piece of coal coke, and the creosote oil. So 2 pieces of coal in a coke oven eventually produce a creosote oil, or like I said, 4 pieces of wood, not wooden planks. And then it's a simple matter of crafting yourself up some wooden slabs with your creosote oil, and that gets you your first wooden tie. Oh my, that's going to require a lot of time to produce some wooden ties. But that's alright, once you get this thing going, you'll be in good shape. Now if we get ourselves a few more wooden ties, thanks to the wonders of modern technology, aka NEI, we've got the wooden rail bed. And this is, like we saw, the standard component in the center for any rail recipe that you're going to go ahead and make. And these are vanilla rails right here. The recipe simply changed when you use Railcraft. And there's a bunch of other rails, as you can see, and I'll get into what most of the new ones do in the future here. But if you're interested in seeing what some of the old ones do, go ahead and check out my old Railcraft videos, because most of the rails have been pretty much unchanged. Now the next thing we're going to need is called a rolling machine, and that thing is called right here. And the recipe for that is just a few pistons and some iron ingots. and you place that guy down, and it's kind of like an automatic crafting bench. You need this to craft some of the more complex items. One of them, for example, if you take 6 pieces of iron along the sides here, you can see that you can craft a standard rail. Perfect. And that standard rail is what you need to craft your rails out of, except you don't do it in a rolling machine, you do it in a regular old crafting table. There we go. Rails. Perfect. So that rolling machine will work just like an automatic crafting table. So if you pipe some items into it and set it up like this, Buildcraft pipes will get you going and hook you up with some standard rails if you pipe some iron in there. Sweet. So one of the first new rails added to Railcraft here that I haven't shown in one of my previous videos is called the suspended rail. As you can see, it's some wooden ties, 3 of them in the middle instead of just 1, and that gets you 12 suspended rails. Let's check out what this guy does. It allows you to suspend your rails over the top of a area like shown here without any blocks underneath to protect it. I think you can only expand along 4 block wide gap, so it won't go too far without any protection underneath. But there you go. So you could have just blocks every now and then to help suspend it, but otherwise you're in good shape. All you got to do to set this up is connect it to an existing rail. Pretty easy to do. Just connect them like that. You could not do this with vanilla rails, of course. And looks like my little system right here did not work as well as I wanted it to. So let's get some more powered rails. And try it again. Ta-da! Hooray! And you guys should note, just be careful, you can't walk on these, you can only ride a rail cart over them. See? You fall right through. The next new rail here is called the Disembarking rail. It's created with gold plate rail rather than just regular rail on the sides here, and that stuff is pretty easy to make in your rolling machine. It's simply some standard rails on the left with gold plating on them. Gold plate rails. Nice and easy. And the other rolling machine recipe that I never did show you guys right here is called laminate railing, which I'll get into in a bit, but that's pretty much used to make high-speed rails. So the disembarking rail, which I've got one set up down here, requires a redstone signal to be activated, as you can see. And if there's a player in the cart, or any entity for that matter, and they ride over the disembarking rail, it would eject the player. But if there's no player in the cart, it just acts like a normal rail. So let's see it with a player in the cart. See? Automatically kicked me out without having to click or do anything. Next up, we've got some integration with Industrial Craft. And what do we have here? Why? We've got the MFSU cart. And we've also got an MFE cart. And we've got a bat box cart. And guess what these guys are? That's right, they're carts that hold bat boxes, or MFEs, or MFSUs. So let's check out the bat box cart first. It's got a standard interface. Let's see, place this guy here, and you can see the bat box sitting in there being all friendly. Now to work with this thing, we can go ahead and hook up what's called an energy unloader and an energy loader. The energy loader crafted with some batteries and detectors, machine block, dispenser, and the energy unloader is kind of the reverse. And basically what these guys are special loading carts that when a mine cart passes over them will transfer the energy into the bat box or MFE or whatever. So if we were to get some batteries and go ahead and start charging up this energy loader, you can see it has an internal energy storage slot. And it's also got up here at the top a discharging slot. So if you wanted to, you could manually charge up some batteries here, but you know, that's not the purpose of this machine really. So let's charge this guy up to, let's say, I don't know, 50,000. Okay, that sounds like a good number. Well, let's keep it at 30 for now. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and tell it to wait if empty for the energy cart. And what that means is any empty bat boxes or MFE carts that pass over this rail will stop. And it'll keep it there until it drains out the internal energy storage of the energy loader, this guy here, and then it'll send it on its way. The wait till full slot, when that's turned on, if you check that off, it'll keep the cart there until it fills up the internal storage of the cart completely. So right now, if we had it on wait till full, it would not let the cart continue along until the cart got 40,000 EU. But if we leave it on wait if empty, it'll put 30,000 in there and then let it along its way once the energy loader is empty. So let's put it on wait till full. Cool. Hit the button, and you can see it stops and gets stuck right there. And the energy is draining out of the MFE. Or out of the loader into the bat box. And notice that once it's out completely, because we said wait till full, it's not going to allow it to move. Now over here, I'm going to go ahead and place down the unloader. Okay. Now the unloader here does a pretty similar thing. And I think you want to use your industrial craft wrench to orient the little plug outlet there on the top. And I'm simply using boarding rails, or you could use holding rails if you wanted to allow the carts to stop. And these rails work, if you didn't see my spotlight in the past, by holding the cart in place until they receive a redstone signal, at which point it'll let the cart continue along its path. Now what we'll do here is we'll leave on the wait till empty, which means have the cart sit here and wait until it's empty. And this guy will just absorb all the energy out of the block here. Now we could also, if we wanted to, set up some geothermal generators. And check this guy out. So what I've done is place down an MFE here, and I'm going to place an energy crystal inside to let it start charging up some EU. And over here I'm going to hook up another MFE with the output facing up. And I'll go ahead and run my fiber optic cable from this block here into this guy. So let's go ahead and hook up my fiber optic cable here, which will start draining energy into the block loader. Okay, once that thing gets filled up, it'll allow the cart to continue along, where it'll get stuck here. So what I've done is replace this cart system, place down an MFE here, and let all the energy in the MFE drain straight into the energy loader. You can see it has an internal capacity of about 100,000. Okay, over here I'm going to place down an MFSU. You should note that these guys emit at a 512 energy unit per tick current, so be aware of that. Otherwise you're going to have an explosion, which I just did off camera. And let's give this guy a try. So this guy is set to wait until the cart is full before letting it along. And this cart is set to wait till it's empty. Let's give it a shot. So it lands there and starts dumping energy in. And once that bat box cart fills up, it's going to move on to the unloading rail. Almost there. There we go. And then it starts unloading its EU directly into the energy unloader, which dumps it out into the MFSU. Sweet. And then once it's empty, it's going to go ahead and allow it to continue along its way. And like I said, there's an MFE and an MFSU cart available to you guys. And there's even upgrades that you can place inside this thing. This 4 slot over here are your industrial craft upgrades. You've got overclock upgrades. And some other cool ones that are unique to Railcraft. So you've got your Lapatron loader upgrade, which is a unique one, but otherwise you can use your overclocker upgrade, which increases the transfer rate between the loader and the unloader, but there's a bit of efficiency lost. The transformer upgrade, which is increasing the amount of energy allowed in there. So if we maybe place the cart over it again, we'll see if it upgrades that. Oh, that's the transformer, I'm sorry. That increases the input-output voltage of the loader. The storage upgrade, which is here, will bump this guy up to another 10,000, allowing more energy in there. So you can see you can put some storage upgrades in, and it allows it to have more storage. But the Lapatron loader, which I just showed you right here, will allow you to have a full 1 million energy units stored, and it's pretty much used for charging up MFEs. So if you want to be serious about it, you could have up to 9.1 million and probably some more if you put more energy storage upgrades in there. But for the most part, you're in good shape going with the standards. Next up, we've got liquid loaders and unloaders that go into the tank cart. So the tank cart here you can see is simply a mine cart with a Buildcraft tank on top. And our liquid loaders and unloaders are shown here. There's item loaders as well, but here's your liquid loader and your liquid unloader. Just needs a detector, which is crafted as part of Railcraft, and a dispenser. The detector, as you can see, is brick around a pressure plate. Okay, so this guy, basically the way he works is the loader right here, okay, loads things from the bottom. So it drops its water down into the tank cart, and then there should be a holding rail underneath that. And then the cart here, the liquid gets sucked down into the bottom, so you can see the little hole on this guy is on the top. So let's give this thing a shot. Let's first make sure there's water inside our loader. Cool. And then send our tank cart straight over there. And it should start filling up water inside the tank cart. You can see it draining in there now. Looking cool. And then the same deal as before, we had a wait if cart is empty or wait till cart is full. I'm going to tell it to wait until it's full. Otherwise, if this thing was empty for some reason, which it wouldn't be with this iteration, but otherwise it would just send it off as soon as the internal buffer in the liquid loader is empty. So it looks like we're almost done with this liquid loader here. It's filling up the liquid in the tank pretty well. And you can see this tank draining out the water. And this will work for any liquids in Buildcraft. Sweet. Once it's filled up, it should shoot off onto the next rail, because it's going to emit a redstone signal through the cart there. Ta-da! And now this rail is going to hold it until it's empty. Now we might need a valve pipe here. I wasn't sure if I did or not. So let's place one down and orient it and turn it on with the lever. There we go. Liquid will flow through and straight into there. You could either use a valve pipe or a wooden pipe powered with a redstone engine. So cool. And then it'll allow the cart to continue along its way once it's empty. Now there's a bunch of things that I didn't get to cover in this video, such as the feed station that automatically feeds animals, the gated rail shown right here. These guys are pretty neat. They're gates on rails, pretty much. There you go. And you can open them with a right click and let the rail cart pass through it, or with a redstone signal. So the gated rail there is great for use in your, possibly with a combination with the feeding machine here, the feed station, to produce some automated cattle farms. There's a bunch of different things listed also that I've not gotten to, a couple different rails, but I think I covered most of them in my first few videos. There's also the tunnel boring machine, which you want to check out on the Railcraft wiki. I'm not able to show it to you in this video, but it's a really neat device that automatically creates a tunnel through a wall and will lay down track as it moves along. So a pretty neat machine, definitely. So definitely check out the Railcraft mod. It's really cool, and there's a ton of stuff you can do with the rails. And it is compatible with Steve's Carts for those of you who are fans of Steve's Carts mod. So definitely, consider the possibilities with these two systems in mind. And if you didn't see my Railcraft videos from before, you definitely want to check them out, because like I said, there's a lot of different rails with a lot of different possibilities. So this is Direwolf20 signing off on the Railcart mod, the Railcraft. A bunch of cool stuff added for 1.2.3. Take it easy.